just a little bit into it, etc. So, do you remember when I defended to a fault Overwatch 2? I simped for this game so fucking hard. And do you know why? The reason why is that it didn't have loot boxes. And I thought it doesn't matter the quality of the game if they are not introducing and capitalizing on gambling that is targeted towards children and underage people. It is still a W to me. I got a lot of hate. Everybody was mad at me. And I stood by and I stood strong in my conviction and my principles because I was right. Everybody else was wrong. I was right. And do you know what happened? You know who else didn't think I was right? Blizzard. They added him back. They did it. So now I'm the retard. I want to go back and every positive video I made about Overwatch 2, I want to like put like a fucking disclaimer. Yeah, by the way, this doesn't apply anymore. The game sucks dick. Okay? So let's take a look at anything to bring them back from Marvel Rivals, right? Yeah, oh yeah, this is what's really gonna get people to come back to Marvel Rivals. So we'll take a look at this. Bro's not a bridge builder anymore? No, Blizzard, no, this is the thing. I said it before, I say it again. You build 100 bridges, you suck one, you're not a bridge builder, you're a dick sucker. You suck 100 and you only build one bridge, you're Blizzard. And here we are. Overwatch 2 loot boxes are officially returning in Season 15. There it is. Wow, 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 look at that. And so this is crazy, isn't it? And Overwatch 2 loot boxes are officially returning. So look at all these articles that just came out. So it looks like apparently there was a embargo on this information. Overwatch 2 is bringing loot boxes back from the dead. Well, how could Overwatch bring them back from the dead if Overwatch is dead? How does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't, like, you see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? What the fuck, right? And so it's 12 minutes ago. Yeah, bro, this is cutting edge, you know, immediate news right now. It's happening at this very moment. It's a big week for Overwatch 2 fans. You're right. The Thing and the Human Torch are coming out on Marvel Rivals, so Overwatch 2 fans will finally have a good game to play for a while. New content, etc. No, good point. Very good point they're bringing up. Absolutely. And so let's take a look at this. Season 15 returns the feature of loot boxes. A press release says you will be able to earn a variety of cosmetics when collecting loot boxes. They will be available from weekly and event rewards. You will also be able to earn one loot box via free battle pass, and additional 2 in the premium battle pass. So loot boxes were initially removed during the launch of Overwatch 2 as a game move free to play. Blizzard seemed more comfortable making money via in-game shop and battle passes instead of loot boxes. Loot boxes were quite controversial. Yes, bro, I died on this hill. I'm actually so mad. I died on this hill for nothing.
I'm making a comeback.
For fucking nothing. This is insane. How does this happen? It's all been for literally fucking. I'm so upset about this, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I'm very, very upset. Yeah, not a zilch, nothing exactly. The game died for nothing. Yes, and you was wrong. Overwatch loot boxes were fine. I'm not. You know what? I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want. I am not willing to give even a second of like trying to justify this, trying to say why I thought it was better. Fuck this. Fuck them, man. Like, I tanked so much hate for your fucking company. Nick and Imaru get sponsored to play your shitty game 7 times for an hour. They play it for 7 hours. I play your shitty game for 70 hours. I make 5 videos defending your dog shit. I never get fucking sponsored. And then you turn me out to be a fucking liar. This is ridiculous. I think they made the wrong call with this. I think it's disappointing that they decided to go in this direction. It's not good. And I don't agree with it. And yeah, that's about it. They're bringing back loot boxes, so you're going to be able to buy them, and it starts on February 18th. Oh, wow. And, okay, so regular loot boxes have a... Okay, I'm not going to read this bullshit. And they're coming back to... Wow. Wow, they're coming back to Overwatch 2. So the entire idea of making all these super expensive skins was to make sure that people don't have loot boxes anymore. And now loot boxes are being added back into the game. Let's see what the Overwatch 2 subreddit says about this. Overwatch fans, Marvel Rising fans, Overwatch porn was banned. That didn't even happen. Wait, oh, is this not... Oh, it's a dead subreddit. I bet it's just probably Overwatch, right? It's the real subreddit? Yeah, here we go. And so, let's see what anybody is saying about this. Oh, this is the new season? Okay, let's watch the new season trailer. Here we go, guys. You ready for it?
To celebrate the glory of battle.
Wow.
The competition, determination, and the boom! What a shot! Again!
Yep.
Finally, a worthy title. From the ashes, rise again.
Competitive rank reset. Wow, so you have to do the... Okay.
It's not about standing atop the mountain.
Wow. So you have to do it again? So you get a blue and a purple, okay.
Just not busy right now.
Okay. Introducing perks. What are these?
To battle!
What?
How could you not win with such an advantage?
Oh, so it's like a roguelite?
Shows them you are superior and bang! My armored fingers are crossed!
All right, so they actually put this, dude. This game is down bad so much that they're actually advertising that they're putting loot boxes back into the game. Like, this is in the trailer. Wow. Okay. Loot boxes are free? Well, my understanding is that you get loot boxes through playing, but you also can buy them.
Just what I had hoped for! The spoils of victory.
Which is how it was in Overwatch 1. Overwatch Classic GOATS meta? I thought everybody hated this. Yeah, if I remember, like, I thought everybody... Why would they add this? Yeah, what? I'm so confused.
Free your mind.
Mythic, Pixies, and Yada.
Energy flows through.
Complete the premium battle pass. Oh my god.
His patience.
Oh wow. Wow. Oh my god.
I will achieve my vision. My arrows fly true.
These look like default NPCs in Fallout.
Don't give them another inch.
They're like the NPCs that are like in the background when like the important character in the story is talking. Yeah, no, you're right. Borderlands is a better one. Yeah, Borderlands definitely better.
My arrow.
Pick your hero.
Man.
Or villain. I'm
How
not
about that?
judging.
Jeez. Jeez.
Arrows fly true.
New shop
To
skins?
win is great.
Oh my god.
To win in style is
They're really trying to get Chinese people to play this game, huh?
greater.
Like, I feel like they're trying to make this, like, everything is based off, like, yeah, Chinese stuff. Like, yeah, hey. I mean, they couldn't get Americans to play it, so. It would be funny, though, right? If, like, Overwatch 2 is a game made in America that appeals to a Chinese audience, and Marvel Rivals is a Chinese game made in China that appeals to an American audience. It is, the dichotomy is very funny.
Masterful display. Play it again. I will rewatch this one a few more times.
Wow. Wow. So they're adding a bunch of skins and loot boxes into the game. And this is the season trailer. Oh my god. Play has no limits. Yeah, and hopefully your credit card doesn't either. And so loot boxes returning is massive. If they're ass like Apex's, then rip. Kind of worried that all loot box rewards looked like common stuff. Average loot box drops, mostly Overwatch 1 loot box drops are common duplicates. Bro, they're already coping and the season isn't even out yet. Oh my god, you don't need to do this anymore. You can move on, man. Just wait for it. Oh my god. Interesting update. What is this? Loot boxes returning LMAO. Wow. Well, loot boxes returning is amazing, but I don't know about pickable passives. Yeah, I think that's an interesting idea, to be fair. I do think that's cool. 2 Kiriko skins? Yeah, I wonder why. Maybe because they actually want some of the people that are part of their real fan base to play the game again. And so, yeah, let's see. Finding some good competitive points. Gun skins, Overwatch 1 is back. Yeah, I feel like after Overwatch 2 released, Blizzard has done everything in their possible, that they possibly could to make Overwatch 1, or sorry, make Overwatch 2 Overwatch 1 again. So it's basically like, they made this bad decision, and everything that they've done after the fact is just trying to undo that bad decision. Which is like, I mean, to be fair, I think it's kind of true. I mean, you gotta look at it and think about it for a realistic perspective. You know, Overwatch 2, how are they doing right now? How's Overwatch 2 doing? Let's take a look and see. Overwatch, and this, we're looking, by the way, this is not their total player base. I would say over 90% of the people play on Battle.net. But let's take a look at how the game's doing overall. We're looking at a trend. This is a sample size. Okay, so I can see why they're adding loot boxes back into the game. So basically the game is circling the drain, and they've decided to, you know how like when somebody dies, before the body's completely cold, they extract the organs? Well, I think this is called Season 15 of Overwatch. I think they're trying to get as many organs and as many pieces of this corpse out of the body as possible before it finally fucking dies. That's it. It's still good though. Look, Overwatch has a lot of good things about it. When it came out, it was an amazing game, and I think that I really Overwatch plays very well in a lot of cases. But which game do I think is like? Which game do I think is like more fun to play? I think Marvel Rivals is more fun to play. It's more interesting to me to play, and I like it more, right? I mean, I'm not playing either one of them really all that much right now, but if I had to choose, that's where I'd be right now. Well, you can easily see why this has happened. Big surprise, nobody gives a shit anymore. And I feel bad for these people, I really do, but unfortunately, if you're still playing this game, this is what you get. And I don't know what to say, but wow, there you go. And holy shit. This is breaking news, gentlemen. Overwatch has brought back loot boxes. Everything that everything they said they weren't going to do, they have done. Concord, yeah, this character actually, they brought this character from Concord. Yeah, if you can believe it. Yeah, exactly. This is the Blizzard character design now. This is the way it is, guys. Sorry to say. And wow. Overwatch 2 competitive year details, all changes and loot box updates. Wow. Well, and then you have the legendary is a 5% chance. Oh, you have legendary loot boxes? Well, where do you get... Blizzard has confirmed that players are guaranteed to pull. I love how it says to pull. Because you know what you pull? You pull the lever on a slot machine. That's what you're doing. You're pulling a slot machine. How is this happening? You already know. Like, it's just insane, man. Is it okay that I don't feel bad for Blizzard? I think that China needs to come up with an MMO that... If you have to understand that basically if China comes up with an MMO that's better than WoW, they will have effectively they're basically just have taken Blizzard's skin and they're just walking around in it. Like, they have fucking PoE 2 because it's owned by fucking Tencent, which is China. They have Marvel Rivals, which is China, and which is NetEase, which is China. And now, like, they tried Terrasland. Yeah, if the Riot MMO, because Riot's also owned by Tencent, which is China, and if the Riot MMO is better than WoW, China will have killed Blizzard. I really think about it. Yeah, it's very possible. Rivals already took a big chunk of COD and Overwatch. If China makes a great MMO, it'll bury Blizzard. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Do they deserve it? Absolutely. Absolutely. As soon as they started doing that weird shit in WoW, they started adding furry races into the game. It's like... Nah, bro. Like, it's just so weird, man. Like, that shit with Diablo 4, how you could get disconnected, have your hardcore character die. Overwatch 2, like, didn't even work for the first couple of days. Wasn't even that big of a deal. No King rules forever. Bro, this has been a fucking, that's been the case for Blizzard for a while. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. Okay, we're better off now. And Necrit made a video on the Riot MMO. Yeah, I don't know if they've really put out any new information about it, but yeah, there we go, guys. Loot boxes return. Dick eaters rejoice.
There they are. Only 60 seconds left.
Are all these companies living inside their own echo chambers? I'm gonna give a really hot take. I think Blizzard is making the right call with adding loot boxes back into the game. It's very obvious the player base didn't really have a problem with it. And at this point, Overwatch is in the death cycle of its product life cycle, of its product lifespan. Overwatch is dying. It's dying. Now, it's always going to have a player base, and because it is a good game. It's a good game. Like Team Fortress 2 is still, people still play Team Fortress 2. So it's not like it's ever going to die. But the era of Overwatch ever gaining like a large momentum of players, that era is over and has been over for years. And so that's what I think is going to happen. And that's what I think is happening. And so Blizzard realizes this. They know that they're not going to get any new players. And so at this point, they're probably going to put this on maintenance mode, try to make as much money as they possibly can through loot boxes, and then put the game on life support, the same as a lot of companies do with their games. I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. And honestly, I can see why. It makes sense. Overwatch 3 time? Yeah, then they have to make Overwatch 3, obviously. That's the solution. But that's what I think is going to happen. That's what happened with the WoW shop. Yeah, exactly. And think about that. Like, when the WoW shop originally came out, there was a couple of posts, and there was like 1 or 2 things that happened that were, you know, like, let's say, like, maybe, I'm trying to think of a good way to say it. Like, the WoW post, there's the mount, and then there's another mount, and like now it's like you go to the WoW store and there's like 7 different pages of it. There's bundles, there's like you can buy gold, you can buy like all kinds of stuff in the WoW shop now. So I think that they did the same thing to WoW also, is that after they realized that the game is not going to grow anymore, then because like there's 2 ways that you can make more money with the product, right? you can either make more money with the people that you're currently selling the product to,
Round 2.
or you can sell the product to new people. Those are the two ways, really, that you can make money. So when they realize that they've hit the ceiling on the amount of people that they can sell the product to, well, then they're going to go to the next best thing, and they're going to try to sell it to as many, try and make as much money out of the people that are still playing it as possible. And I think that's clearly what's happening. WoW Shop is so incredibly small compared to most MMOs. I mean, you can buy gold. I mean, I don't know what you need it to be. You can buy gold and level boosts. I mean, what the fuck? So, yeah. They should stick to Overwatch 1 and focus on events like Fortnite? Maybe, I don't know. Do you think they should do a double rug pull with Overwatch 3 PE? Yeah, I think they should just get rid of PvP in Overwatch 3. And then halfway through the beta for Overwatch 3, cancel the PvE that they had in the game, and then just say that the game's not coming out and everything's dead. Yeah, I think that would be the funniest solution. I'll tell you that. Ooh. So wait a minute. Marvel Rivals released a trailer on the same day that Overwatch did? Oh no. Oh no. All right, let's take a look at it.
I'm making a comeback.
So they're getting married. That's nice. Wow. Well, that's nice. It should have been me. Oh my god. Man. I actually really hope people use this this new skin, because that way you can tell her apart from that other character, Cloak and Dagger. Oh shit! Man. Fantastic! Wow. It does look pretty good. Relatively clean, I would say. Man. Wow. So they're releasing it on Valentine's Day. Well, I guess that's what would kind of make sense, right? Considering the topic. Yeah, I would say so. Well, there you go, guys. There you go. And that's clever. Holy shit. And wow. And let's see how many comments. And this is what's so crazy about it. So the Marvel Rivals, it has 10,000 updates and 1,000 comments. And the Overwatch post has 100. It has 120 upvotes and 84 comments. And this one came out 3 hours ago. And this one came out 1 hour ago. So 184 with 121 in 1 hour versus 10,000 and over 1,000 in 3 hours. I'm sure they're gonna catch up, guys. Hey, I'm sure it's gonna catch up. Definitely dislike it. Well, I don't know if I can. But anyway, it's not even close. Yeah, that's bad, man. Holy fucking shit. But I think it's not a surprise. And Stretchy L, Blizzard will say those are botted. Oh yeah, I mean, of course. That's it. Blizzard employee who tweeted, "Kill your local MAGA," has been rumored to be terminated. Yes, that's true. The guy got fired. He was the thing is that I'm not a big one for like getting people canceled for having like political beliefs, but advocating for violence against people because of political beliefs, that's not on the table. I'm sorry. You don't need to be doing that. That's weird. And so yeah, the guy got fired and he's done. And such a stupid mistake. Threats are good. Yes, exactly. Not violence, murder. Yeah. This is what happens, and I think that I think we should do this more, honestly. Make people like this afraid to make these blatant and just absolutely insane calls for violence. It's insane to do that. What does terminated entail? They fired him. I mean, that's what it means, right? Obviously. So yeah, make them accountable. They're all learning slowly. It's about time. And what's this here? Don't say dumbass shit online. Make people accountable. Yeah, molten lava take. I'm just saying, right? Threats and violence, opening violence is completely wrong and needs to be deal with the consequences. Absolutely. And so this is what happens with somebody like this. And I'm very glad to see it. And I know that a lot of you guys, obviously, whenever I did this, and I was talking about it myself, a lot of the people that like watch the video, like, we made this happen. This is a huge W, so like everybody pat yourselves on the back. We got a annoying retard that talks shit, that says crazy stuff. We basically got them fired from their job. This is a great day. This is an amazing fucking day. And I will do it again. Keep it in mind. I will do it again. I do too. Yep, cancel culture W. This isn't cancel culture. These are people that are advocating for threats and advocating for violence and murder. We are not canceling somebody. When a bank robber gets arrested for robbing a bank and he's being led into the police car, he doesn't say, "Help me, guys, I'm being canceled." Okay? That's different. This is very, very, very different. So yes, we're making an observation. Absolutely. Fuck those provocations when incite violence? Yeah. This is the consequences of their actions. This is consequence culture? Yeah, I've heard that before.
Snowball fight. Need some help. I suck.
Confidence. He wants to see it ended also.
It's just him talking about it. Okay.
And
yeah,
we're
here
going
we
to
go.
work toward getting it ended, and as fast as possible. It's a horrible situation going over. It's flat land, and the bullet goes off, and the only thing it can hit is a body, a human body, a young human body. And they're losing just tremendous numbers of mostly soldiers. The cities and towns have been largely demolished. It's a shame what's happened to that country. It would have never happened if I were president. That I can tell you. Would have never happened. It's to look at that. And October 7th would have never happened either, by the way. Middle East.
I'm not judging.
But we'll get it. I think we'll get it. We'll get something done. We're going to be meeting. Actually, tomorrow they're meeting in Munich, as you know, and we're going to have some other meetings. And I'll be dealing with President Putin largely on the phone, and we ultimately expect to meet. In fact, we expect that he'll come here, and I'll go there, and we're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia the first time. We'll meet in Saudi Arabia, see if we can get something done. But we want to end that war. That war is a disaster. It's a really bloody, horrible war.
Saudi Arabia, the first meeting now?
I think so. We think we're going to probably meet in Saudi Arabia the first meeting.
Oh boy.
Hasn't been set, but not too distant future. We both understand, you know, we know the Crown Prince, and
We'll watch this for like 20 minutes, and then we're going to get ready for the PlayStation thing.
You did?
You might be surprised where.
And perhaps the Crown Prince, but not President Zelensky.
Assuming it's not over by
we'll
then.
have a first meeting, and then we'll see what we can do about the second meeting.
Be your best self. The battle starts in 5, 4.
What about
3,
Ukraine?
2, 1.
No, I haven't. I
All you
haven't
need to do is
committed
capture
to
the
go
mission
to
area. Got it?
I would think about going. Think about it. No problem.
Today, Mr. President, that they receive your vision. What is your plan to end this war? Like today's Secretary.
Well, I'm not going to tell you my plan. I can just tell you we've made a lot of progress. This should have been done by
Yeah, that's
Biden,
what I
not
think a
by
lot of
me,
people are
because this
concerned
has been
about.
going on for now a long time, years. And it should have been done by Biden. Just like the young gentleman that I brought home yesterday after 2 weeks. We worked on it for 2 weeks. He was a fine man. and he was in there for 3.5, almost 4 years, and they weren't able to do a thing, and I got him out. And as you know, I didn't pay $6 billion. I didn't pay anything. We did a trade, and we did a good job. We got him out in 2 weeks. Should have been out years ago. Really should have been out years ago.
Ooh.
I don't think it's practical to have it, personally. I know that a new Secretary of Defense who's excellent, Pete, made a statement today saying that he thinks it's unlikely or impractical. I think probably that's true. I think long before President Putin, they said there's no way they'd allow that. This has been going on for many, many years. They've been saying that for a long time, that Ukraine cannot go into NATO. And I'm okay with that. I just want the war, whether they are or they're not. But it certainly would seem to be that most people have said that that is something that's not going to happen. No, I don't think so. As long as he's there, but at some point you're going to have elections too. You're going to have an election.
I am ready to put on a show.
In terms of what? We'll see what that means. I think when the war ends, one thing he was very strong about, he wants it to end, he wants it to end. And as President Putin said that, he wants it to end. He doesn't want to end it and then go back to fighting 6 months later.
Well, yeah.
We talked about the possibility, I mentioned it, of a ceasefire so we can stop the killing. And I think we'll probably end up at some point getting a ceasefire in the not too distant future. Say it, what? It's an interesting question. I think they have to make peace. That people are being killed, and I think they have to make peace. I said that was not a good war to go into, and I think they have to make peace. That's what I think. Well, he's going to have to do what he has to do, but, the poll numbers aren't particularly great. Mildly. He's got a country where, it's been savaged and attacked, and he's got an army that's been very, very brave, actually, despite the fact that, we've given him, in my opinion, $350 billion. That's what the real number is. You don't hear that number. And Europe has given, in my opinion, $100 billion. And they've done it in the form of a loan. And I have a Secretary of Treasury right now who's actually quite brave. He's over in Ukraine on a train. And there's a lot of things happening around that train that aren't so good. And he's going there to get a document done where we're going to be assured that we're going to, in some form, get this money back, because we're putting up far more money than Europe, and Europe is in far more danger than we are. We have an ocean in between. Europe has nothing in between. They have in between, they have Ukraine in between. So
You missed it? What did I miss?
As you know, Europe is putting up money, and they're getting it in the form of a loan. And the United States under Biden didn't do loans. They just handed money every time somebody walked in from Ukraine. They just handed them money.
He wants the minerals from Ukraine as payment? Yeah, he already said that.
It should have never happened. It should have never started.
Yeah, that was already stated.
Other things should have happened. Other things should have taken place. So we're getting security on our money. We're going to have it secured by, they have raw earth, and they have oil and gas, and they have a lot of other things. And we're asking for security on our money. They've agreed to it. Ukraine has agreed to it.
You are not sending any more aid to Ukraine.
No, we are, but we want it secured, and the money is going to be secured.
Yeah.
When will the U.S. stop sending funding?
You're wrong. He's wrong. They're all wrong.
Because if
everybody's
we didn't
wrong.
do that, then Putin would say he won. We're the thing that's holding it back. And frankly, we'll go as long as we have to go, because we're not going to let the other happen. But President Putin wants to have peace now, and that's good. And he didn't want to have peace with Biden. And you tell me why that is, okay?
Well, because he killed the civilians. I mean, I feel like that's pretty fair.
No, but it was a nice thing that he allowed Mark Fogel to leave. In fact, Mark wasn't feeling well, but he was all of a sudden, about 2 weeks ago, he started being treated very nicely. He said they took him out for haircuts. They took him out. They helped him out a little bit and made him feel better, made him look better.
Oh, jeez.
And they were nice to him. And he said, I saw something happening, and it coincided with when I came into office. So that was nice. And he's a fine person. He was so happy to be out. He was there for 3.5 years plus, and he shouldn't have been there at all. They should have had him out much faster than that. Wait, go ahead, please. Well, I think Pete said today
that's a pretty good question.
Right?
Yeah.
It certainly seemed to be
very
unlikely.
good question.
They took a lot of land, and they fought for that land, and they lost a lot of soldiers. But it would just seem to me, and I'm not making an opinion on it, but I've read a lot on it, and a lot of people think that that's unlikely. Some of it will come back. I think some of it will come back. Yeah, some of that land will come back. Who are you with? Yeah. You who?
AFP?
Okay.
He doesn't even know who they are, so he can't talk shit. Because you know that's what he was thinking. It's Yahoo? Really? Yahoo does news?
I am ready to put on a show.
Well, I think that if you look at the war, the way the war is going, you'll have to make your own determination. I'm just here to try and get peace. I don't care so much about anything other than I want to stop having millions of people killed. Last night, Kiev got hit very, very hard. I want to see people stop getting killed. That war is ridiculous. It should have never happened, and it would have never happened. Yeah, a couple of more questions.
Are you planning to sign an executive order on reciprocal tariffs?
Yes, I am. In fact, I may do it today.
More
I
tariffs.
may do it today. I could almost
Jesus.
do it right now. Would you like me to talk about it now? I don't want to take anything away from this young lady's day, because this is her day, and I may do it later on, or I may do it tomorrow morning, but we'll be signing reciprocal tariffs. The world has taken advantage of the United States for many years. They've charged us massive tariffs that we haven't charged them. And as you know, I just did something on steel and aluminum, 25%. And that'll go up at some point, but 25%, which will level the playing field quite a bit. I did it previously 50%, and Obama was very weak, and Biden was even weaker on steel. The steel was just absolutely, it really started with Obama. The world really took advantage of us, and then that morphed into Biden. And what they did was, he was so worried about trying to attack his political opponent that he didn't know what he was doing with respect to countries taking advantage. He should have looked at the countries, both friend and foe, taking advantage of us. So we're going to be doing reciprocal tariffs, which is whatever they charge, we charge, very simply. But we're going to be...
Considering essentially talk about widespread fraud. I don't want to be censored.
Oh, yeah, dude. Tremendous fraud. There's tremendous fraud, and it's hard to believe that you can have that kind of fraud. You're talking about, like... Are you talking about what? Wait. Which are you talking? You're talking about with regard to all of the investigations that are going on about this stupidity?
Yeah.
What we're going to do is tomorrow,
it's hard to tell.
I'm going to read to you some of the names that hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars have been given to. And if you tell me that we should be giving money to those things, those entities, I think you'll probably have to
There's
leave
so much
as a
going on.
reporter
Yeah, there
because
is.
You're not
It's a
very
lot.
talented. When you look at the kind of money, billions and billions of dollars being thrown away illegally, and there's no chance. I'm going to say it in front of our Attorney General, there's no chance that there's not kickbacks or something going on. When you give millions and millions of dollars to somebody that stands to look at something for 15 minutes and walks away with millions of dollars, that money's coming back in some form. And that's only one form of corruption. The biggest thing is what they do to our country. They're taking massive amounts of money and spending it on items. I went through a list of 200 expenditures that were made. And I found 3 that looked like they were reasonable.
Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
three.
Fighting until we have a winner.
And we'll be talking about that tomorrow. We have a lot of stuff. And I want to commend Elon because he's done a fantastic. He doesn't need this. You know, he's abused by you people every day. He's found more things than anybody could find. I think
Jesus
he's got the
Christ.
credibility to do it. I know he does. And it's his group of people. You know, they started off with 12. I call them 12 geniuses. They started off with 12, and they went to 20 and 25, and now they're up to almost 100.
Damn.
People are joining to help them because there's a massive fraud that's taken place. And then you have judges that are
30 seconds before you
activists,
attack.
and they sit
Get
there and they
ready.
say, oh, as an example,
12
$59
apostles.
million going to a little small group in New York City. You get nothing going to North Carolina to help nothing. They say we don't have any money because they've given it away on the border. But you have nothing. What they did to North Carolina is a shame. And then they sent $59 million to New York City for a hotel for a little
4,
bit of nothing. What they've done,
1.
a hotel that was not
All you need to do
luxury,
is
that's
capture
getting
mission
luxury
area.
rates for
Got it?
migrants, where they're making a fortune, and we catch them. We catch them. But a judge says, well, even though it may be a fraud, you have to send the money in anyway. Send the money. I said, wait a minute. We have money that shouldn't go because we caught it before it was sent out. But they want the money to go anyway. And I think you're going to have a lot of things to look at there. I really do. What's going on
boy.
with this whole thing. And this is just one group. We haven't talked about Department of Education. We haven't talked about the military. We haven't talked about a lot of things that are very big. And what's happened is, as an example, you'll have cases where you have a 3-month contract, and maybe the guy that signs the contract leaves. Maybe he gets rich. All of a sudden he leaves for that reason. But you have a 3-month contract, and maybe he leaves. So the contract is sitting there. And the people signing the checks don't know it's 3 months. And it goes on for years. The 3 months turns out to be 3 years, 5 years,
That's
10
gotta be
years.
corruption, man.
Just goes on forever.
Yeah, like,
And the guy on
it's
the other
gotta
side
be a
of the
scam.
contract just keeps getting check after check
has to
after
be.
check. Because Elon had an expression yesterday, because nobody cares. It's a great expression. Nobody cares. The guy that signed the contract didn't care. Maybe there, may not be there.
Sure.
Maybe crooked. Who knows? But you have to care. Otherwise, you can't really run a thing like that, or you can't run a country, really. Because there's so many transactions, thousands and thousands of transactions. And if you don't have people that care, you're going to lose control. And that's what's happened. And we've caught it. Now, what we caught is billions and billions of dollars, but it's a tiny fraction of the real number. Because you can never catch the real number because people have gotten away with tremendous amounts of money. But I said we have to make our government smaller, more efficient, more effective, and a lot less expensive. And we could find $1 trillion, but we're being hindered by courts, where they file in certain courts where it's very hard to win. And a judge will stop us, and a judge will say that it doesn't make any difference what you find. You just keep paying the money. That's a hell of a way to be. And I follow the courts. I have to follow the law. All it means is that we appeal. But that gives people time to cover their tracks.
that's the roaches.
And
Yep.
that's what they do. So it's a very bad thing that's taking place. But hopefully, if the courts, hopefully the courts will be fair. They don't have to be very fair. They just have to be a little bit fair because this is so egregious what's taking place. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Nobody's seen numbers like this. These are massive numbers. $9 million for somebody to go and stand in a store and see how people shop. Okay, I mean, you take a look at these things. It's a disgrace.
That's a good
And then you have
job.
a country
Yeah, it's a
that
great
we
job.
wanna
Look at that.
Make America
Damn.
great again. It's very hard to make America great again when you have things like this. And you're going to see the same thing. Department of Education is going to be a disaster. The military, I mean, I see it. Look, I came in, they had a contract done, as you know, for $5.7 billion for airplanes. It was Air Force One with Boeing. 5.7. I got it down to $4 billion. A little less than that. 1 penny less than that. $3,999,999 and 99 cents. They said, I said, has to have a 3 in front of it because I wouldn't sign the contract for $5.7 billion. I was able to cut
That's a lot of fucking money.
$1.7 billion off the price.
Jesus Christ.
And it didn't take me long. $1.7 billion. If people would care, they'd be able to do that with every single contract that's put before them. And we wouldn't have deficits. We'd have nothing but a tremendously low-taxed, wonderful country. But they have to care. And speaking of that, you know, Boeing, we're not happy with the service we're getting in terms of those planes. They would like to get more money. We're not happy about that whole thing. We signed a very strong contract. I signed a guaranteed maximum contract, which they haven't seen in a long time. And they're saying they're getting hurt by it. But they have to produce the product, and we expect them to produce the product. They have to produce the product. They agreed to build planes at a certain price. They're not used to that. They're used to having time and material contracts where it's whatever it costs, time and material, no dates, no
Trump, don't
anything,
say bad
and
stuff
it ends
about
up
Boeing.
costing
Yeah.
5 times more.
Yeah,
You look
whatever
at some
happened
of
with
the
those
ships that have been
planes?
built.
That's
Take a look at
crazy.
the Gerald Ford.
Wow.
The aircraft carrier, the Ford. It was supposed to cost $3 billion. It ends up costing like $18 billion. And they make, of course, all electric catapults, which don't work. And they have all magnetic elevators. They lift up 25 planes at a time, 20 planes at a time. And instead of using hydraulic, like on tractors that can handle anything from hurricanes to lightning to anything, they use magnets. It's a new theory. Magnets are going to lift the planes up.
Seems
and
like
it
a good
doesn't work.
idea, maybe?
And
oh,
they had billions
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
billions of dollars of cost overruns. I met the architect. I said, have you designed a ship before? This is one of the biggest ships in the world. It's like landing at LaGuardia Airport. But you look at the kind of waste, fraud, and abuse that this country is going through, and we have to straighten it out. We have great people going into the military in terms of we need ships, we need a lot of things. We have great people, we have business people going in. But when you look at what's happened to our purchasing, and when you look at the USAID, when you look at the things that they're giving to them, the billions of dollars that they're giving to, and it doesn't make sense. It is interesting that when you're looking for fraud, you look at items, hundreds of items, and you'll find one or two, maybe, if you're lucky. Here's something
He said
where
just
you
the op- yeah, he
look
says
at
the
it,
opposite.
and they're all fraudulent. You know, by just looking at the topic, they're all fraudulent, except it's the opposite. You'll find one or two that's...
It's crazy. I knew what he was going to say because he just says the same shit.
I just want to thank Elon for going through it. I want to thank all the
Wrap
people.
it up.
that
We
are
got the
working with
Sony
him. You know,
thing.
we have a big group of people. I think the lowest IQ is about 160. That's very high. I think you have a couple of 182s in there, but they're doing a fantastic job. He
There's no
doesn't need it,
teleprompter?
and
Yeah.
they don't need it. But we're showing things, and it's going to be a big. People have no idea how important it is.
President, do you want the Department of Education?
Oh, I'd like it to be closed immediately. Look, the Department of Education is a big con job. We're ranked, so they rank the top 40 countries in the world. We're ranked number 40th. But we're ranked number 1 in one department, cost per pupil.
At least I didn't
So we
wake
spend
up in
more
the
per
crazy
pupil
house
than
again.
any other country in the world. But we're ranked number 40. We've been between 38 and 40. The last time I looked, it was 38. And then I looked 2 days ago, it came out the new list.
We'll give it 5 more
It
minutes.
came out at number 40. So we're ranked 40. Norway, Denmark.
I feel like this is like a
Sweden.
TikTok.
I
We
hate
got
to say
three
China,
videos
as big
going.
as it is, it's ranked in the
Yeah,
top
with
5.
me reacting. Yeah.
And that's a primary competitor. We're ranked number 40. So if we're ranked number 40, that means something's really wrong, right? And I say send it back to Iowa, to Idaho, to Colorado. Send it back to places that, and there are a lot of Indiana.
He's all
You
over the
have a
place
great
today?
new governor. You have a great senator that Jim Banks just got elected. You got great people. I'll tell you what, Indiana is going to be fantastic. We probably have 35,
They've made it halfway.
maybe 37 states that will do as well as Denmark, Norway, Finland, Sweden. They'll be just as good. Then you have
I am
then
ready
you
to
have the
put
ones
on a
that we all
show.
know about. It'll be the same story, but you know what? Even they will be good. Because you look at New York, you give it to
Just what I
Westchester
was saying
County,
about
you
earlier.
give it to Long Island, you give it to Nassau County, you give it to Suffolk County. Same thing, you go out to, and you give it to upstate New York. So you'd have 4
See?
or 5 sections.
What's happening?
You give it to Manhattan. Manhattan's a little bit tougher for some reason. I don't know why it would be tougher, but it is. You give to California, and you go to various areas outside of Los Angeles, and you might have 6 or 7 different subgroups. But generally, like if you go to Iowa, you give it to Iowa. You don't have subgroups, you have Iowa. And other places that do a good job. If they do a good job,
Are we in
they're
a
gonna do
cult,
a great
bro?
job in education.
For sure.
Those places will be every bit as good as the various countries that do so well. All the time, it's the same countries that are doing well. And so we have a Department of Education where people from Washington, D.C., who in many cases don't care about the kids out in the country. They don't care about the farms and the farmer's daughter and the farmer's sons. We have a massive bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. We have buildings that are all over the city. Department of Education. I never said Department of Education's in all these buildings. By the way, nobody shows up to work because they're all working at home. You know, quote, working at home. They're not working at home. And a lot of them have second jobs. And that's the other thing that Elon Musk is looking at.
Oh, shit.
How many of these people are getting checks, working at home, but they're not
here we
working
go.
because they have second jobs
Here we go.
and even third jobs? You're going to find a lot of them. And
Yeah,
those
that's
people
true.
are going to be fired because we have to make our government.
Just like a whole separate, it's like an
One more question.
overemployed. All right, one more.
Yeah, Jennifer.
One more.
Nice to see you.
This is perfect, bro. He's ending it for me to watch the PlayStation event. W Trump. Thank you, man. Yeah. Yeah, he knows. Trying to do, yeah, he's trying to keep us on schedule.
I haven't done that. I'm backing Ukraine. I'm backing Ukraine. Don't
Thank God.
I'm approving, but I do want security for our money. You know, Europe is getting security. You know that, right? They're giving their money in the form of a loan. Nobody knows that. And why are we at 350 billion? And Europe, which doesn't separate with an ocean like we do, we have a little thing called an ocean in between. Why is it that Europe is paying
He's right about
200
this.
billion less than us to help
Bullshit.
Ukraine? Very similar
Total
size. If you
bullshit.
add up all the European countries, it's a little bit smaller than the U.S. in terms of the economy. Why is it that they're not paying the kind of numbers that they should be paying? And then on top of it, and I've been saying this to Biden, I told Biden, I said, you ought to be asking for either a loan or some kind of a
not that
security,
simple.
like their oil and gas or
His numbers are
something
wrong?
for the money.
Then correct me.
You're putting up much more money.
You can post. You
than
can post a
Europe,
correction
and
on
you have
Twitter
no security. Europe's
or
putting
Reddit.
up a much smaller amount.
This is what
and
my
it's
understanding
in the form
is.
of a loan. Because we have people that were incompetent in the last administration, grossly incompetent, and we're changing it. But we change it, and all we do is we get hit by lawsuits from the radical left all the time. But here we are, we stand, and I guess we've done okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Man.
President Trump has just spoken with Russian President Putin, and some details come directly from the president. He has just put out on his Truth Social, and so it's everywhere now, that they discussed Ukraine, the Middle East, energy, artificial intelligence, and the dollar. He also revealed the two agreed to visit each other's countries. He said, I had a lengthy and highly productive phone call with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. I just read what he said they talked about. We both reflected on the great history of our nations and the fact that we fought so successfully together in World War II.
I just remember the interview that Tucker Carlson did with Putin. And then, like, he asked Putin a question, and Putin's like, well, in 1504. And it's like, oh. Oh, shit. 3-hour interview, yeah.
I don't have to be center stage.
that Russia lost tens of millions of people, as we likewise lost so many. We each talked about the strengths of our respective nations and the great benefit that we will someday have in working together. But first, as we both agreed, so this is Trump posting about his recent call just moments ago with Putin.
Yeah.
He said, but first, as we both agreed, we want to stop the millions of deaths taking place in the war with Russia and Ukraine. President Putin even used my very strong campaign motto of common sense. We both believe very strongly in it. We agreed to work together very closely, including visiting each other's nations. We also have agreed to our respective terms, starting negotiations immediately. And we will begin by calling President Zelensky of Ukraine to inform him of the conversation, something which I will be doing right now.
Fuck, thank God. I just, like, the only thing that I'm worried about is that this negotiation ends with capitulation to Russia, where Ukraine has to lose ground, which I think is unfair. That's my main concern and my main worry. That will happen. A lot of people are worried about that. I'm willing to listen to an argument for why that's okay, but my gut feeling is that it's bad.
So this is playing out contemporaneously as we're here live on Outnumbered. I have asked Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Director of CIA John Radcliffe, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, and Ambassador and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to lead the negotiations, which I feel strongly about will be successful. Millions of people have died.
Discussing what's the alternative. I really hate to invoke this because I feel like 90% of times people invoke this. It's bullshit. But I think that appeasement didn't work with Hitler. And I think that now Putin now has 2 points on a line where he annexed Crimea. And now he's doing this with Ukraine. I find this to be unsettling.
I'm making a comeback.
It's an unsettling pattern of behavior that I don't think should be reinforced. And I think the entire rest of the, like, global, people should be against it. Why should he stop? Well, because there's massive sanctions on Russia. And so that's the way that I feel about it.
Only 60 seconds left.
Well, like, I don't have, like, a super strong, like, I don't hate Putin. I don't, like, hate Russia. But I think that what they're doing is, from everything that I understand, maybe I'm totally misinformed, but it really seems like they're the aggressor, and it's just massively fucked up what's been happening.
I am ready to put on a show.
And it's like, I've had people say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. They show me something and it's just some bullshit, right? And so anyway, yeah, no, I'm a big supporter. As I said before, I'm a big supporter of Ukraine. And so that's my concern. U.S. president shouldn't be toying around with Europe. I think that it's fair to say that the U.S. president shouldn't be toying around with Europe, but I think it's also fair to say that the way that basically the U.S. is using Ukraine as a proxy to prevent Russian expansionism, I think that especially in the context of how that happened in World War II, it makes a lot of historical sense. And I don't think that NATO is a bad thing. I think that the amount of money that the U.S. puts into NATO is a bad thing. But at a fundamental level, I think NATO's good. Does that make sense?
War that would have not happened if I were president, but it did happen, so it must end. No more lives should be lost, President Trump writes. I want to thank President Putin for his time and effort with respect to this call and for the release yesterday of Mark Fogel, a wonderful man that I personally greeted last night at the White House.
I saw that.
I believe this effort will lead to a successful conclusion, hopefully soon. The President of the United States.
That's great.
Charles.
Yeah.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Hands-on, getting things done. It's hard to put it into words. You know, I actually was getting goosebumps as you read that because of what we've already seen. You know, just in the last few weeks, what we've already seen, including getting Mark Fogel home, and it just makes you feel pretty confident that this conflict will be resolved. Much sooner than anyone had anticipated. And to President Trump's point, it did not start under his watch and probably would not have started on his watch.
Who knows?
You know, it is a promise that we now know on July 13th, the conversations that he was having with Mark Fogel's now 95-year-old mother. And he promised her he would bring Mark Fogel home. And he
How many
talked
percent
about
believe in Russian propaganda? I think that a lot of the people that are against Ukraine are just isolationists, period. So they're not really against Ukraine. like on principle. Or like in a specific sense. They just don't want us involving ourselves in a war in Europe. So it's not about like whether Ukraine is wrong or not. They just don't want to deal with it. It's not naive. I think that's the way a lot of people see it. It is.
Out promises made, promises kept, and we think, okay, campaign, that has to do with all of America. But it can be personal, too. You've been there with a front row seat when it gets personal.
Yes, and that was a very personal story he shared, and it was very interesting, fascinating to hear. And I think, look, reading that tweet, that Truth Social, as you did, I was just thinking back about foreign policy over the last decade and a half. And you think about President Obama, and you think about Putin and his invasion of Crimea that happened, and Obama responded with minor sanctions. Then Trump comes in, and it's stability for 4 years. There's no Russia annexing X, Y, or Z. And then you bring in Biden, and then you get a war in Ukraine. And then Trump, here we are, just over 3 weeks' time, Mark Vogel's released. Then there's this conversation, and you're talking about winding down the war in Ukraine. If President Trump, and look, there's a lot of ifs, we don't know what will happen. If he manages to wind down the war in Ukraine, get a status quo in the Middle East where Iran is on its heels, where you get a Saudi peace deal, this is legacy-defining presidential moves on the foreign policy stage that would put you in the realm of Ronald Reagan. Again, a lot to be played out. We're only 3 weeks in, but these are very encouraging signs 3 weeks in.
You know, I know it's a big moment, and on this couch, Kaylee and Emily and I will all talk about our faith. And I think at this time, our enemies don't like this. And if you were ever going to pray for a president and the United States of America, now would be a really good time to pray for our protection as a nation and for his. You talk about the speed at which he's moving. Our enemies are leaning all the way in now.
10 hostages released in 3 weeks. And to Mark Vogel's point, when he was released, he thanked the entire diplomatic corps and so many pairs of hands that each played a part under what he called the President of the United States as his hero's direction. To your point, the action, the speed of which the Americans
this was last night. I remember I saw a little bit about this.
Results that families have seen results, like Mark's family. There he is right there. I mean, they have been waiting for this, and they received a phone call by the State Department during Biden's administration, letting them know that their beloved son and brother was not part of the hostage release that involved Brittany Griner earlier. And that was a horrible phone call for them to receive. Here we have, again, in that post, too, I note, number one, that President Trump referenced that negotiations will be led by the director of the CIA, by Secretary of State Marco Rubio, NSA Michael Waltz, Ambassador Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. So he says they will manage the negotiations. The delegation under his execution, which I think also is a hallmark of this presidency. He talked about he surrounded himself with people who have the same vision and will be in lockstep with putting America's priorities first. And the visit between the two presidents, as promised in this tweet or in this message, I think will be quite phenomenal.
Yeah, that's really important too. Look, just real quickly, on that day, July 13th, last summer, when he had the conversation with Mark Vogel's mom, now 95, I promise to bring your son home.
Yeah, I mean, he did it. I mean, that's a great thing. I feel like, obviously, how could that not be a good thing? Majority in Ukraine wants it to end as soon as possible. I wonder how it looks like, because the problem is, like, Russia has a lot of propaganda, and it doesn't really have, like, a very free state, so it's hard really to gauge, like, what the Russian population really believes. But, like, if I'm looking at this from my perspective, it seems like Russia has lost a lot of base for how badly they've done in Ukraine. Like, I remember when the Ukraine war started, I thought that, like, Russia was going to take it over very, very quickly. So I think that it is in Putin's best interest to end it, because I do think that it probably makes him look weak and look bad. But it's just hard for me to know that, because it's like you have a language barrier, culture barrier, and also propaganda barrier. But, like, if I'm just thinking about this from, like, a common sense perspective, that's what makes sense to me.
Just 2 or 3 hours within that whole realm was the first assassination attempt.
Yes.
A presidential candidate who'd been shot in Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania. He never lost track of that promise he made to her.
No, it actually solidified his resolve in the 4 years, the gap in between his presidencies. And that's what's so unprecedented about this, because normally a two-term president, by their second term, they're absolutely exhausted under the weight of the responsibility of the job. We've never seen in our lifetime someone who has 4 years to really consider what they would do, with the energy of getting back into the White House. But what actually makes me, I'm not surprised by this based on what he's done. What makes me really sad is that Joe Biden could have picked up the phone. Joe Biden could have had this conversation. Joe Biden could have preserved hundreds, thousands of lives. I mean, if this is what it takes.
It's impossible to know.
2, 1.
I don't think it's fair to blame it on him because you don't know what Trump is saying or willing to do in order to get Putin to come to the table. Like, it's too early to say.
I would like to think so. If it's as simple as a conversation,
Yeah.
The $100 billion we sent to Ukraine, how many hundreds of thousands of people dead?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great point. I guess I just asked, could the man who managed to call people garbage on the right side of the aisle in the latter days, who hurt the presidential candidates before on the Democratic side, could that man have led to this much? Could he have accomplished
Well, now we get to look forward. We don't even have to
We don't have to look back.
Well, there it is. And, at least he's talking to Putin instead of sending mixed messages. Biden couldn't do shit. I don't know. I'll link you guys a video real quick.
I'm making a comeback. Some help. Better stop that vehicle. Thanks so much. They made it halfway. Stop them.
Armed and dangerous!
I suck. I owe you that. Someone else help. I suck. Need some help. Oh. Someone needs a snowball in the face.
Chief, let's go!
I am ready to put on a show! There's still a chance to stop them! I am ready to put on a show! Help is back! Look out that vehicle! I'm back in the fight. They hit a checkpoint! Now might be a good time to stop them.
Magneto!
How? You're frozen! Down to 30 seconds! That one hurts. I am ready to put on a show! Final score, 4-2-5. Well, you can't expect to win them all.